It's your girl, Stacey Bullock. Here we are on another wonderful Friday afternoon, evening. It could be morning, Saturday morning where you are, but we are here to bring you tools that are going to transform your life. And you know what? As usual, we have a great show today. We are going to be talking about passion and purpose. Flip it around, purpose and passion. But we are going to delve deep into these areas today. But first of all, I cannot go further without giving thanks and gratitude for this opportunity, for this platform to be able to share with you all who faithfully come on here and watch us on Fridays. But I'm hoping that you're just not watching. I'm hoping that you're listening, you're grabbing a hold to these words that will ignite us and move us into another place, to another dimension, if you will. But we can't do it if we don't apply it. We can listen, but we have to apply it. And wow, what a great segue right into purpose. Applying what we learn to who we are. Purpose is why we're here. I want to go out on a limb, and I'm just going to say that I believe that it is the responsibility of each and every one of us to fulfill our purpose. I don't believe that anybody else can do that for us. I believe that you who is sitting in your seat, laying on your bed, sitting behind the wheel of your car, you're responsible for fulfilling your purpose. What is your purpose? Purpose is your reason for being alive. We all have one. We just got to figure out what it is. And then when we do, guess what? It's going to grow. So it's going to change. And that means we're going to have to tap into it again and say, now which direction am I going in? Purpose gives us intentional processes. Purpose says to us that I have to provide a service, a benefit to someone else. And when we do that, when we contribute, that means we're doing our part. We're paying our rent in the earth. That's what I call it, paying our rent in the earth. We came here to be fruitful and to multiply. And that's pretty simple, we think, right? Fruitful just means to be successful. That's it. Simple. Just to be successful at who you are, not at what somebody else is doing, but who you are. Multiply means to increase, to grow, to develop. That is something that we all should be doing on a consistent basis. You know what? And I have the perfect guest to give us some enlightenment and help us to develop and grow more into who we are. And my guest is none other than Miss Alicia Barmore. Welcome.
Hello. Hi. Well, hello, Dr. Stacey.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. I just got chills, just went all up and down me because I'm just so excited to have you here. You are an instrumental part of what you just said, doctor. Whatever I have, a lot of the things I'll say that I've gotten accomplished here in California have been under the mentorship, whether you know it or not.
Okay, we can't start out this call crying. I mean, this interview crying.
No, we're not gonna cry. But it, I do feel a little emotional. So I'm gonna bring myself down a little bit because I want the people to hear from you. I want them to know who Alicia Barmore is to the core.
Okay. All right. Well, before we go into that, I just want to say I am so proud of you and all that you have accomplished and all that you have done and are doing. And I know that this is literally just the beginning. Some of this stuff we talked about, years ago when you made that first call to me, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to do this.
Right.
And I was like, all right, slow down, slow down, low
Right.
down. We
Yes.
but the process has been very good for you, I know, and so I'm so proud of you, and I
Thank
look
you.
forward to sitting on the sidelines cheering you on for all the other stuff
Um,
that's to come.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And definitely that is a vice versa for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. But go right ahead and talk to us about Miss Alicia Barmore.
Oh wow. It's funny that you're asking me that today, because Alicia Barmore is ever changing. And so I am in the second, I'm calling it chapter 2 of my life. I turned 50, when was that? Last year. I turned 51 this year. And so it's amazing. I've always heard about the wisdom that kicks in, and some of the feelings that kick in at 50. And let me tell you, it all really did happen for me. I just turned into a whole different person. Realized some of the things that were no longer bringing me joy and pleasure, and just a lot of things. So I am a mother of 2. I have 2 grown children. Thank the Lord that they're finally grown.
Right? I understand.
Right. 2 grown children, but I'm from the East Coast originally, moved here to Los Angeles. It was golly, a long time ago. I think it was 2014 when I moved to Los Angeles with this great plan of how I was going to do things. It's funny that we're talking about purpose and passion and all of that today, because I had this whole plan of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. I was going to be bi-coastal and all of these great
Mhm.
things. And
Mhm.
8 months into moving to Los Angeles, I had run through all of my savings account. If you all don't know, Los Angeles is very expensive.
Very. Yes.
Right. And exhausted all my resources, and found myself and my son, we were sleeping on someone's sofa. So I'm thankful to God that we had a sofa to sleep on, and
Mhm.
we're not on the street. So I don't say we were homeless. I always say that we were displaced. But what I came to find out later on this journey was that was all just a setup. God was setting
Yes.
everything up for us to go on and create. I completely changed careers at 42 or 40 something. I changed careers. So that was scary within itself. And
Mm.
we just have gone on to be blessed to do some amazing things, which I'm sure we'll get into. So I won't
Yes.
give it all away yet.
All right. All right. But you know what? You said something that just popped right out to me. And I'm sure it pops out to many people when they have to make transitions and adjustments in life. And it's okay to have to do that. You know, we should do that. If we are continuing to grow and become, then it is going to be necessary for us to make adjustments. And you said the word scary. And a lot of
Mhm.
people may feel like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know which direction I should be going in. I don't know what to do. Here I am. There you were, staying
Mhm.
on someone's couch.
Mhm.
And now what? That could have clouded your entire thought process. So tell us, how did you dig in and discover passion again to start some of the things that we'll talk about in a little bit?
Sure, sure. So let me go back a little bit and tell you the full story so that it makes sense. So my youngest son Devin is a singer. We had been coming back and forth to California from the time he was about 15 years old, for his music and for different things. And so Devin always said that when he turned 18, he was moving to California. He was moving to
Mm,
Los Angeles. And so Devin turned 18 on March the 28th that year. And on April the 11th, Devin was on a plane with everything he owned in 2 suitcases, and he was moving to California. That's what happens when you raise children around personal development.
That is the thought that came
and you
to my
give them
mind.
vision. Yes, yes.
Yes.
And so so he moved here. And so what I told him, I said, well, if you stay consistent with your music and you do everything you're supposed to do, I'll move in a year. Now, I got to be honest with y'all. I don't think that I thought he was going to stay consistent. I don't know. I don't know why I said that or what was going through my mind. But a year came around and I had to keep my promise to him and I had to keep my word. And so here I am on my way to California at 42 years old. I am moving across the country. I had never lived outside of the DMV area. Shout out to all our DMV watchers. I had never was born and raised there, raised my children there. And so at 42, I was literally in the back of the cab on the way to the airport crying, saying, who uproots their life at 42? Who moves across the country at 42? All of these things that I was saying to myself. And even though I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was following what God told me to do. And so the problem came when I got here to California and I wanted to do things on my own, still doubting myself, still thinking, I had been working with nonprofit. So at the time I owned an event planning company that I had owned for many, many years. Still have the company website is still up. Don't call me to do any events because I'm not doing them. But I had been also working with nonprofits for many, many years and really just did it as a hobby because I loved working with nonprofit organizations. And I knew what God had told me to do, but I kept saying, no, I don't think that's for me. Who am I after 15 years to change careers? What are people going to think? What are people going to say? Oh, she was an event planner and now she's a nonprofit consultant or a nonprofit expert. And so I let a lot of that hold me back for some years. And so that's why I said at the beginning that ending up on someone's sofa and that process that I went through during that time was all a setup. Because what I do know is that, God is not he's not forceful, but he will get his point across to you. And if you don't hear him one way, he'll take it another way.
Exactly.
and that's what happened with me, and out of that situation was birthed Favor Consulting Group, which now yesterday we just celebrated 7 years in business, and 7 being the number of completion. Yes. And so
congratulations.
Thank you. And so I said yesterday, I pray that these last 7 years have been pleasing to God, because it has been an amazing journey that we have been able to literally help thousands of nonprofit organizations get started, develop, all of that. It has not been easy at all. There are, Stacey, you've heard me say many times, there are so many days that I was like, I quit, I'm done. And being the boss and the owner, when you quit, that just means you go home and regroup.
Right. Thank you for saying it that way, because that is so true. Yes. Thank you.
So had I not been obedient and took that leap and that, back then, I don't know where we would be right now. I don't know what I would be doing. I don't even want to think about it. But what I can tell you is, it's never too late. I don't care if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. If you know that part of your purpose and part of your passion is to do something different, is to change what you're doing in any area of your life, it's never too late. If God has called you to it, then he's already given you the resources to be able to do it. And you just have to tap into those resources. Oh, come on. I'm talking to myself right now.
See, I told somebody the other day, I think somebody posted something about pep talks to yourself. And no, he said giving a pep talk to somebody else when you need one yourself. I'm like, those are the best ones, because I'm not just talking to them. I'm talking to me too.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that we get the opportunity to talk to many people all at one time. And you said something, and I always catch on to things that people say. And you said, "Who am I?" But you asked the question. I always say, if you're not asking questions, how are you supposed to get the answers? And when we have to make these transitions, when we have to take these times of sometimes difficult and not seeming like, oh, this is going to go like I thought it was, because we see the end picture.
Right.
We see the end picture, but now we got to walk through to get to that view that we see. Right. And then when we get there, we got to probably change it again, take it up a few notches, if you will. So when you ask, who am I? What exactly does that do for you when you ask that question?
So it's funny because there's a talk that I do sometimes. It's called The Process Before the Promise. And and it was birthed out of my own story. And you know, that you said we see the end, right? But we don't know what that process is going to look like. Because honestly, if we knew what the process was going to look like, we would mess it up. So we can't even know. And so, you know, when you say, who am I to do this, or who am I to change career, who are you not to do it? Yes. If it's purposed for you to do it, there, you know, there are, I would probably say, hundreds of thousands of nonprofit consultants, right? Just like there were hundreds of thousands of event planners. But the reason that my phone rang back then, and the reason that my phone continues to ring every day now, is because nobody does it like I do it, like the way that Favor does it. And so whatever it is that you have been called to do, there can be, you know, one of the excuses you may say is, well, there's already a bunch of people that are already doing that. Right. But there's nobody that's going to do it the way that you do it. And so that's why you can still be successful in whatever it is that you want to do. And just know, like I said a few moments ago, you know, it has not been an easy journey, but it has been so worth it. The process is not going to look exactly the way that you want it to look. It's not going to be all roses and, you know, good smelling journey, all of that. Like, you gotta have to put on. So I used to have a friend, and she used to say, it's time to put your overalls on and get back in the mud and get back in the dirt. Right.
Yes. And you have to continue to dig and plant.
Exactly. And at some point, you know, you just said it. You plant the seeds. Your tears are watering those seeds. I can't tell you the nights that I was up crying, the days I would be sitting in my I'm in this beautiful office now. You guys can't see my whole office, but I'm in this beautiful office now with all this nice furniture and all this stuff. We started out in a little office where we had to go outside and walk next door to the bathroom, whether it was raining, cold, whatever it was.
So I got to throw a question in right here. So with that being said, I need to pay attention to the time. We're doing so good, having so much fun. I don't stop paying attention to the time. I've got to take a break. But when we come back, I want you to tell us, when all that was going on, how did you stay in this pursuit to get to where you are now? There's something that says, and it's not just patented, ladies and gentlemen, for Miss Alicia Barmore. We all can tap into these things that keep the pursuit hot and keep it going. But we're going to come back Don't go away. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly, I promise.
I'm Stacey Bullock, and I'm committed to waking your power to bounce back quickly from life's challenges. I've learned there is power in resilience. There was a point in my life when I closely identified with the Sade song, Soldier of Love. Mostly what I identified with was the part that says, I've lost the use of my heart, but I'm still alive. Doubt, disappointment, rejection, it left a stain on my soul. But that's the place where our determination lives. And that's the place where we have to dig in and find resilience so that we can bounce back. I have taken all of that disappointment and despair, and now I use it as a catalyst. It has become my energy to fight, to become a better, a stronger human being every day. Why do I do this? 2 reasons. So I can help you understand that you can become better, and that you can become stronger, and then you can survive any situation. The second reason is because I was born to do it. I am a transformational speaker who can help you know that there is power after pain.
Every day, living tools for every day, living tools for every day, living every day, living tools for every day,
I told you we would be right back, and here we are. And we are going to jump right back into where we left off and talk about how did you continue this pursuit with the things when things just didn't look like it was going in the right direction.
Wow. I haven't thought about this in a long time, Miss Stacy. So, um, so it kind of goes back to what I was saying as far as when you know that you've been called to something, when you know what you're supposed to be doing. And so that allowed me to keep going, to keep fighting. The other part of it is I didn't know this is what it was going to look like. So that's probably a good thing that I couldn't mess it up. But I will tell you a huge thing that if you've ever heard me speak or ever hear me speak again, I talk a lot about personal development. And, the books that you're reading, the podcast you're listening to, shows like this that you're watching, these are so important. Sermons that you hear, YouTube should be one of your best friends. When I couldn't afford to buy books, I could watch it on YouTube for free. But that's huge because, right when you need to hear something or you need to read something, it's going to appear right when you need it. So that it'll give you just that little bit that you need to keep going to the next phase, to the next level, to whatever it may be. It's funny because the building that our office is in, I used to ride by this building and say, one day I'm going to have an office in there. One day I'm going to have an office in there. And so one day I got the nerve up to come and I reached out to them and I came in and did a walkthrough of the office. And it was, oh my God, I was blown away. It was everything that I wanted and everything that I thought it would be. But I think when we did that initial walkthrough, I don't even know how much money I had in the bank, but it was nowhere near enough to be able to afford this office, right? And it wasn't until maybe 2.5 years later that we were able to move into this office, which was during COVID, when people were leaving offices and moving out of offices because they couldn't afford it or because, they weren't doing it. We were moving into our dream office. And so,
isn't that just how God does it though? When it doesn't look like it's supposed to be happening.
and that's what I
then
was
it's
going to
supposed to
say.
happen.
Do not judge your success by other people and what you see other people doing or saying, because half of the junk that you see on social media is not real.
Mhm.
Half of the stuff that people put up, some of the coaches and people I see on there, I'm like, but you just called me last week to fix your stuff. So not everybody, because there's
Right,
some good
right.
people on there,
Oh
but
yeah.
do not get frustrated because you think something is not happening for you in the right time. It's not about your timing, because if
Wow.
things had happened for us in a different season, in a different time, we may not have been able to sustain it. So,
Right. Right. So we have to be always mindful of that. But you said that you looked at that building and said, I want to be in there. I'm going to have an office in there. And the knowing part, I believe, is what pushes us to be able to speak these things into existence. And when we know something, I think when we know our purpose, I believe it's the most powerful place that you could walk in. And because you will do it afraid, you will do it when it doesn't feel good. You will, and just like you said, when you own a business, when you say I quit, that means you just go home, take a nap, regroup, and come back.
that's right.
That's your, that's your opportunity, your moment of reprieve, and you're like, okay. Because what happens is, for me, and I believe for you as well, the next day you get back up, and guess what? You're still you, and you still have that knowing. So you still like, oh, just get back in line, and
Survive through the night. So
yes, and this is just, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I am enjoying myself immensely. And I hope that you all are enjoying yourself, not just from the standpoint of listening, but like I said earlier, we got to start doing things as well. And you, Miss Barmore, are doing so much. So how did you get to the point of knowing that it is people that you want to give your gift to? Because that's what I believe you have, a great gift of growing and development. You must have brown thumbs or Caucasian thumbs, or, because people say, well, you got a green thumb, you make plants grow, but you make people grow.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. I've never
You're
heard it
welcome.
like that, but thank you. That's great. I'm going to use that in something, Stacey.
Yes, please do.
So I have, when I look back, I have always loved bringing joy to people and helping people in whatever it may be. When I had my event planning company, there was nothing like the joy on someone's face when they would walk into the room, or they would they would get to see the experience that we had created for them and for their guests, whether it was a conference we were doing, or it was a birthday party, or whatever it was. So I've always loved helping people, and just bringing joy to them. So, and just being able to see, I believe that God has given me a gift to be able to see things in people that they can't see in themselves. And so, even like with yourself, I know you've had some ups and downs. You've gone through some things. And I remember when you called about starting your nonprofit, even you were still questioning it a little bit then.
Yes.
And I remember you told me what you had been doing in Maryland. And I said, girl, you've already been operating a nonprofit. You just haven't had the structure.
Right.
So, yeah. So, it's just something that's in me, and it's been in me for a long time. And even now with this phase of life, I'm still going to be helping people, but I'm going to be helping them in a different way. Favor's not going anywhere right now.
Okay.
I know. Let me fix that, because everybody, my post I put on Facebook yesterday, everybody been texting me. What's going on? Where are you going?
Right.
But there are some changes and some transitions that are going to be coming. My friend Chris and he told me about an article that he read the other day, and it was the top 3 regrets that older people, I think it was actually people over 100, had. They interviewed them once they were older in life. My grandmother turned 98 yesterday, which is such a blessing. But it
Yes.
also reminds me that, hey, you could live a very long life if you take care of yourself the right way. But the 3 regrets that people had, one was working too much. 2 was not spending enough time with family and friends. They wish they had spent more time with family and friends. And the 3rd regret was not traveling more than they did and seeing the world. And those are 3 things that I fall within all 3 of those. And so, I say now that the reality is there's more life behind me than in front of me. And that's not a bad thing. We all want to get old. The goal, as Steve Harvey says, the goal is old.
The goal is old.
Yes, the goal is to get old, but I want to enjoy my life. I have an amazing, the love of my life, now, who has come into my life almost 2 years ago. And we just, our priorities are a little bit different. Some of the things that we want to do. So,
key word, priorities.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes in the knowing all the time. I'm telling you, that knowing thing, that grasping hold and being tenacious. And people may think of the word tenacious as something like a dog, pit bull may be growling and holding on to something. And that is the concept. But the reasoning behind it for me is that we understand so much about what our priorities are in life at this time, that we're holding on to it, that you can't shake me from this because I know it. I'm intimately close with it. And I just want to ask you, so even in transitioning phases, what would you suggest? I can't say how anybody should do anything, but what would you suggest that people begin to focus on to keep their pursuit of their passion, whatever that passion is, long as it's healthy and loving?
Right. So the first thing is, I would say being honest with yourself, and what are your desires? What are your wants? What are maybe some things that you haven't accomplished in your life that you want to accomplish? And starting to really look at that list, or maybe it's a list. I'm a list maker. The planner in me is still very much alive. I have a to-do list every day. I work off a list, all of that. I feel good when I can check something off. And so, and if you're in a relationship and you have a partner, whether it be a spouse or, whatever it may be, what are some of the things that you all are thinking about in life? What are some things that you want to accomplish? I will say, I think growing up on the East Coast, and you can probably relate to this too, Stacey, and a lot of people, we were taught, go to school, get a good job, you get married, you get the white picket fence, you have some kids, you raise the kids, and that there's nothing wrong with that. I watched my grandparents do that. I watched, my parents do that. But things have changed now. And so, Chris and I talk about a lot of times traveling, because he has traveled the world and I've done a lot of traveling, but there's still so much more that we want to see and we want to do. And we talk about, he had a friend who I think the gentleman is in his 50s, and he just went on his first trip outside of the United States this past year.
Wow.
And right. And so, you know, maybe you've never been outside of the United States and you want to go to Aruba, or you want to go to Dubai or something. You know, it's a transition. It doesn't always have to be something major. It can be small things as well. For me, there's another business in me that I am going to be launching in 2024. There's, you know, more to Alicia Barmore that has not been seen yet. That's going to be coming out. There's a whole nother side to me that I'm excited to share with the world.
Yes. And I know that the world is excited to receive it, whether it knows it or not. You know, you just made me so excited. Just, you know, because when we begin to walk in this place of creativity and dominion and being fruitful and multiplying, and that's not just in baby form.
Right.
Thank God.
Right.
But when we walk in that place and we begin to see these branches and leaves sprout from us at different stages in life, I mean, how could you not be excited for someone? Because somebody that needs what you're bringing, somebody is out there connected to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't even have the vision for it. So there's somebody who's going to need it, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see what it is. But
and you know what? I'm sorry, I didn't fully answer your question. I just realized I just started talking. So I said, being honest about, you know, where you are, what are some of the things you want to do. Another thing that I would suggest is find a coach who can help you with the transition or help you birth what it is that you are trying to do or want to do. One of the best things that I was taught many, many years ago in business, find a mentor, find a coach. And so, you know, I've had people that have mentored me from afar that I have followed that didn't even know, they didn't know my name, they didn't know who I was, and they have no idea how much I learned from them and how much I got from them. However, it comes a point where you've got to put your money where your mouth is. Did I say that right? Yeah. And so, so you've got to spend some money and get a coach who has done what it is that you want to do, what you desire to do, because it may have taken that person 10 years to birth it. Well, with their experience and their help, you can now do it. You can cut that time in half or less, right? I talk about while we were in favor, you know, when we first started the first few years, I was just trying to keep this thing going. I was trying to keep us above water, make sure we were servicing our clients the best we could, all of that with the resources that we had. And then we got to a point where, you know, the money got good. We were making good money. Things were happening. And I said, okay, so I got the company with God's help, obviously not by myself, to $250,000 a year. I had never built a company to over $1 million a year. So I didn't know how to do it. And so I had to go find someone who had proven experience. And when I say proven, I had watched them do it for other people. And I also knew what they personally had done, not just because I saw them post on social media that they made 7 figures. I needed proof, right? And so, and it was one of the people who I had followed for many years. I took advantage of all of her free stuff. I went to a couple events, and when they would offer things, I could never sign up. I could never afford it. And so at that point, when I was at a place where I said, okay, I got us here, I need to go to the person that can get us to over $1 million. I knew exactly who to go to and who I could trust. And I went to her. I did one of her programs, and sure enough, that year, You were there, Stacy, when I announced it in the room. It was October, and we had gotten to over 7 figures that year. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because God is no respecter person. If he did it for me, he can do it for you and beyond, right?
Definitely, yes.
And so now, just last month, we actually now have hired that same coach who I couldn't afford 10 years ago. I was only doing her free stuff. Then about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years, 4 years ago, maybe, I was able to pay, I think I spent, what was it? $30,000 on her year-long program. To now, starting in 2024, she is coming on full time. Well, she's coming on as our COO of Favor Consulting Group to take us to the next level.
Wow.
You see how that transition happened?
Yes.
Didn't all happen overnight.
No, it
took
did not.
time to do it.
Yes.
But because we stayed faithful and we stayed in the process, you got to stay in the process. You can't get knocked out. No. You got to stay in it. And so now that's one reason I'm so excited. I literally, if you come in my office, you would think it's 2024 already. I got the 2024 calendar up. My 2024 planner came today. Where is it? I can't even find it. My 2024 planner came today. I am all into 2024 because I know it is going to be an amazing, incredible year.
Yes. And that's the focus that all of us have to keep for whatever your lane is. You have to stay in the mindset of it's going to be incredible. But something that you said that you didn't say is that you have to be prepared for it when it comes, because you have all of the 2024 things in place now. So when it comes, bam, you're ready, you know, and a lot of people, we don't always do that. We don't always prepare for what we know is coming. So if we're not prepared for it, there's no way that we'll be able to sustain it or even know it when it comes. And again, I have, go ahead. I was going to say, I have, again, not paid attention to time. This has just been so good. But what I want to say is, though, you put out some more words out here, evidence, proven. You didn't just pick somebody arbitrarily. You did your work. People, we have to do our work. If we don't do the work for ourselves, we're certainly not going to do it for somebody else. We're not going to be able to be in that right place, in that position. And earlier, when you started talking about the, I'll say, season change for your life, I was studying last week about seasons. And of course, we all know in Ecclesiastes where it talks about there's a time and a place and seasons for everything. But when I looked up season, it said position change.
Are we allowed to shout on here or not?
Yes.
Because girl, I'll go into a shout in a minute now.
When I saw that just gave me another spark of, okay, we're changing positions. And when we change positions, I know, remember from my military career and federal government career, when we change positions, that means there's some different things going to be coming your way. And what you said a few minutes ago about having your 2024 stuff already in place, you're prepared. We have to be prepared. You don't become a leader and then you do the work of a leader. No, you've already been doing the work.
Right.
Then you become. But let's take a break. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna have to run around my table for a minute, I think.
Take a break, because I got something when I come back that just dropped in my spirit that I want to tell somebody. Okay.
Absolutely.
Have you found yourself wondering, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Recognizing the stranger in the mirror is the book for you. It helps us to unravel the mystery of who you really are, revealing your life's passion and why you should unveil the real you to the world. We need you. You are valuable and necessary for those who are connected to you. Do not be afraid to peek in and discover all your gifts and talents to share. It's real freedom when we reveal our authenticity. Stacey Bullock is a 2-time best-selling author, transformational speaker, and host of Tools for Everyday Living TV show. She is committed to igniting resilience, personal transformation, and building life skills of her audiences and clients. The author of 2 previously written self-help books, Beaten Oil and Regain Power Through Resilience, Don't Let Your Brain Go Numb. Stacey imparts lessons that teaches readers to utilize their light as a guide for others, and discovering inner strength and resiliency to bounce back when life throws curveballs. Stacey may be reached for speaking engagements, leadership and employee training, and life skills coaching via her email at stacy@powerandresilience.com.
I told you we'd be right back. All right, I'm going to be quiet. Matter of fact, I'm going to go off screen because I'm ready to hear what you have to say.
Oh my goodness. So look, we were just talking, obviously about seasons and transitions, and what dropped in my spirit. And Stacey, you've heard me say this in some of our mastermind sessions, that December is going to be the most important month of this year for some of you all. And I always talk about how in December, it's really heavy, because what you're doing in December is you're closing out the year that we're in, and you're preparing for the year that's coming all at the same time, right? And so, your brain has to shift. It has to go from you're evaluating what has happened over this previous year, what some of your goals were, and maybe some of the goals that you haven't yet achieved, which is okay. It's not the end of the world, but you're also preparing for 2024. And what are the goals you want to achieve that year? What are some of the things that you want to do in your life, in your business, with your family, setting goals in every area of your life? And so I know that there's a lot going on this month. I know we've got Christmas and we've got New Year's, and some of us are traveling, and we're preparing for all of these different things. But you've got to make sure that you take the time out. You've got to schedule some me time, is what I call it. And I don't mean it's going to the spa or any of that stuff. It may be, but you've got to schedule some time where you do a thorough evaluation of what has happened in 2023 and what you want to have happen in 2024. Because for some of you, the decisions that you make this month are going to completely change your season. They're going to completely change your life. You're going to be able to look back to this month and say, it was December of 2023 that I made a decision to start the business. It was December of 2023 that I made a decision to go back to school and finish my degree. It was 2023 that I made a decision that my family was going to become more of a priority. Whatever it is for you, only you know that. And you've got to take the time to really, really hone into it and prepare for it.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, I ain't go off camera for nothing. I got my paper and pen. I'm over here writing. I hope y'all taking notes. And like I said, you can't help but to let that get in your heart, what was just said, because it was an arrow, and I felt it just shoot out and penetrate us, so that we will want to now say, okay, I'm going to prepare myself for the next part. Because there is a next part. There's always a next part, and we have to be mindful of that. When life feels like it's changing, it's just going to the next part. Don't stop and get complacent. Become a new word that I learned, complaisant, which means that you're eager and you're happy to be moving forward. Find your eagerness, find your zeal, find your happiness, and say, you know what? I'm going to go after what I want, what I believe that I was created for. Woo, Alicia, you have sparked up some stuff today. Let me tell you, I'm so excited. I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's next? What I'm getting ready to do? What's happening? And I know we get ready to take another journey somewhere. And I'm so thankful to be connected to you, to, as you said, as I said, as I believe you to be a mentor to me, regardless of whether, I sit down and talk to you all the time or not. I'm still watching. I remember he's not old, but my bishop, he say sometimes some stuff you're going to have to catch. You're not going to be able to, sit down and read it in the book. No, you're going to have to catch it when it comes. And I'm so thankful that our paths crossed, and just leave the people with something else. I don't know how much more you can leave us with.
Lord.
I feel like I could run. I need some skis, some rollerblades, or something for me to get my next.
I'll leave you with this. I think I'll leave you with this. Something that I had to learn a long time ago, and something that's going to be very important for you on this journey. And that is the word no. It's that simple. No. You don't have to give an explanation of why it's no. You don't have to share it with anyone, but no needs to become your best friend. Many years ago, and some of you all that are watching have probably heard me tell this story. Many years ago, I used to have the word no all over my house. I mean, everywhere. It was in the bathroom. It was in the kitchen, in my dining room that I had turned into my office. It was in my bedroom. It was everywhere. And people used to come in and say, why do you have the word no up everywhere? And it was to remind myself that it was okay to say no, because I used to try to say yes to everything and to everybody. And when you learn that you will never be able to fulfill your vision and your purpose and get through your own process if you are saying yes to everybody and everything else, it will excel your time during your process. You will be able to move through it much quicker just to say no. So I will tell you, I have become an expert at saying no. I love saying, nope, can't do that. Sorry. Nope. And I only do things that bring me joy now.
Yes. Remember that should ring loud in people's ears when we get up in the morning. I'm only going to do things today that bring me joy. And when we are in a place of genuine joy and love, that means to me, with the word no, that we are no longer telling ourselves no.
Right.
Because many times when we tell everybody else no, then that in turn says no to you, to your plan, to your purpose, to your desires and passions. But now it's back to, wait a minute, I can tell myself yes. And that knowing gives us a place of freedom so that we can be free of judgment of ourselves and others. We can be free of comparison of ourselves to others, and we can be free of negativity. Purpose will give us a large vision and a newfound awareness and love for who we are. And I'm thank you.
And it's not selfish. You're not being selfish, although you do need to be a little bit selfish in this process. But it's not being selfish. It's telling someone else no, so that you can say, yes, I do want to go feed the homeless today. Or yes, I do want to give my time to this person or to this project or to this member of my family, or I do want to go travel, or whatever the case may be. That's what saying no allows you to do. And it's It's very simply getting you in position.
Yes. And what a great position it is. I mean, I am a witness and evidence that when you find yourself, when you put yourself in the right position, because I said there's a scripture that talks about God looking toward you. But if you're not where he's looking toward, guess what? The blessing is not going to come your way either. And I don't always mean material things, even though the evidence does show up sometimes in material. But I want us just to always remember that we need to be in the position so when the opportunity comes, we're there. We're prepared and we're ready. And Alicia, again, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, listeners and viewers. I appreciate you all so much. I will never take you for granted. I will always have care and love for you and always want to bring you the best words to bring us solutions to our challenges in life. So again, join us next Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on E360 TV for tools for everyday living on your Positive Vibrations channel. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Stacy.
Hi, this is Stacy Bullock of Ordered Steps Incorporated, and I am here with Miss S, and she has been one of our favorite clients who we were able to assist, and I'm going to let her tell you all what it means to her for her to be assisted.
Okay, well, before I met Stacy, I'd been homeless for about 20 years here in Long Beach, California. But since I met Stacy, I mean, she got immensely involved with me, and now I'm inside. We've been inside for a little over 2 years, and we're doing better. Me and my dog Coco, and I mean, she's helped me out so much. I don't know what to do.
What is purpose? Purpose is our reason for being. Being is who and what we make happen in our lives. Our lives should have a plan, and the plan is to fill the earth with our gifts and talents. Our gifts and talents will bring life to others. It is something that is bigger than we can imagine, but that is the beauty of it. The more we believe in our passion, the more we become persistent in our pursuit to accomplish the unthinkable, the more powerful and stronger we become at being who we were created to be.